Hello, dear friends. Digital technology is advancing at such a frenetic pace that it is hard to keep up, and only those who are up to date get the biggest advantages. Opinion piece. New quantum internet, created in the Netherlands at Delft University. It's much faster and more secure, much harder to hack. Published in the journal Science. The fastest connection of the future. Quantum satellite internet exists. Let's start. Scientists at Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands have developed a new technique that has allowed them to successfully connect 3 quantum devices for the first time in history, as reported by Raquel Holgado last Sunday in 20 Minutes. The study, published in the journal Science, is a key step in the attempt to achieve quantum internet, which would allow sending large amounts of data over distance in a more secure and instantaneous way than now. Currently, there is no network connecting quantum processors or quantum repeaters deployed outside a laboratory, other than paid connection from an ordinary PC to IBM's quantum mainframe. An example of a prototype quantum communication network is the 8-user series-scale quantum network described in September 2020. The network, located in Bristol, UK, used fiber infrastructure and operated without active switching or reliable nodes. Discovery. The Delft University team's discovery is a rather primitive version, but it allows the foundations of the quantum internet to be laid. Ronald Hanson, the study's principal investigator, explained to Inverse that thanks to this first network, they now have a unique test bed for developing the quantum internet. The application of this model will not affect the way we navigate the internet, but it will improve the speed and security of our web browsing. The most outstanding practical function will be the cybersecurity that we will obtain, since in the event of any intrusion outside the receiver and sender of a message, it would be detected by the system. However, there is still a long way to go before the quantum internet becomes a reality. At the moment, several laboratories are testing various materials to find the right one to transmit the qubits efficiently, and an infrastructure also needs to be created to connect the information. When everything is ready, quantum computers could help us to advance more dynamically in the field of technology. In fact, this technology could help us work on new sensors with which to detect gravitational waves or telescopes with high resolution. Previous discovery. In December 2014, a group of Dutch scientists created a device capable of releasing symmetric photons of light, which paved the way for the development of the quantum internet. Just as computers are now connected via fiber optic signals, it would soon be possible to use quantum connectivity. A group of researchers at the Eindhoven University of Technology in the Netherlands managed to control the production of similar photons for a short period of time, which means that quantum connectivity is no longer a golden dream of scientists. They predict that the quantum internet may be the connection of the future. The key task in the new stage of its development is to be able to encode information in photons so that they can be produced on demand. It's a revolutionary technology, said Professor Ian Walmsley of Oxford University. The scientist is confident that they will be simpler and more convenient to perform long and slow calculations, which are now performed by supercomputers such as weather prediction. Definition: the quantum internet is a set of theoretical systems, protocols, and devices that enable extremely secure connections between computers. This is based on phenomena such as quantum teleportation and the use of qubits, like the classical internet. Although there are different methods for establishing these connections, they all use some aspect of quantum mechanics. Quantum networks form an important element in computing and in quantum communication systems. Such networks facilitate the transmission of information in the form of a quantum bits, also called qubits, between physically separated quantum processors. A quantum processor is a small quantum computer that can perform quantum logic gates on a number of qubits. Quantum networks operate similarly to classical networks. The main difference is that quantum networks, like quantum computing, are better at solving certain problems, such as modeling quantum systems. Networked quantum computing or distributed quantum computing works by connecting multiple quantum processors throughout a quantum network by sending qubits to each other. Doing this creates a cluster of quantum computing and thus creates more computing potential. Less powerful computers can be linked in this way to create a more powerful processor. This is analogous to connecting several classical computers to form a cluster of computers in classical computing. Like classical computing, this system is scalable by adding more and more quantum computers to the network. Currently, quantum processors are only separated by short distances. Distance. When we want to perform quantum communications, an important factor is the distance over which we want to transmit the information. The main problem with this system is that photons cannot travel at excessively long distance without losing their polarization or being absorbed by the medium. Quantum repeaters are used to solve this problem. The main problem with secure nodes is that they need to store information classically. This means that an eavesdropper could access their memory and obtain the key. Secure nodes are vulnerable points. Therefore, when working with these devices, it is necessary to allocate sufficient resources to their protection against external agents. However, while it is true that they are vulnerable points, their use greatly increases the security of the communication channel. This is because they reduce all network vulnerabilities to the secure nodes themselves, making it possible to protect against external listeners. Currently, classical computing works thanks to bits, minimal units of information that have the value of 0 or 1. We are responsible for creating packets of information ranging from the images we see in a YouTube video to the words you read in articles like this one. The main advantage of the quantum internet over the current one is that the latter consists of bits, which can be 0 or 1, while the former will operate with qubits, which can be 0 and 1 at the same time. Researchers claim that this difference will greatly expand its capabilities. With the quantum internet, the basic unit of information could be the qubits. This can be programmed so that their values can be 1 and 0, or overlap the both at the same time. These qubits can be intertwined so that any change of information that occurs in one device will change in the other, even throughout the particles are on the other side of the planet. These properties of qubits allow information to be shared instantaneously, and any intrusion between a conversation between a sender and a receiver can be encrypted. History. First, the first theoretical propositions about quantum ways of communications date back to 1970, when Stephen Wiesner saw potential in the fact that it is impossible to measure a property of a quantum system without modifying it. He proposed that information could be encoded in units called qubits. Second one, inspired by Wiesner, in 1984, Charles Bennett, an IBM computer scientist in Yorktown Heights, New York, and his collaborator Gilles Brassard of the University of Montreal in Canada developed an ingenious idea whereby two users could generate an encryption key, and only they would know by encoding it in the polarization states of the photon. Third one, today similar schemes are being sold to financial firms or government organizations. ID Quantic, for example, has been protecting 3 selection results for more than 10 years using such quantum encryption keys. Fourth, similarly, in 2017, the Chinese satellite Misuse, the brainchild of physicists Pan Jianwei, which is nothing more than a variant of the Bennett and Brassard protocol, made an experimental demonstration. The satellite generated 2 keys and sent them quantum encoded, one to the Beijing station and the other one to Vienna station. Fifth, in September 2017, Pan and Anton Zellinger of the University of Vienna employed this model to carry out the first intercontinental video call, secured in part with a quantum key. On the same date, the creation of an extensive quantum communications network between Beijing and Shanghai was completed. Threats. It is now known that the regressive controllers would be organizing a global cyber attack that would trigger martial law around the world, but the quantum satellite internet of the Odin project would eliminate the quagmire. It is also known that there are mass media satellites around the world to carry out Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird is a large-scale program that began in the early years of the Cold War and attempted to manipulate the mass media for propaganda purposes. Mockingbird recruited prominent journalists into a propaganda network and influenced the operations of front groups. The government uses biometrics to identify persons of interest, but biometric presentation attacks can prevent correct identification. The goal of the Odin program is to develop biometric presentation attack detecting technologies to ensure that security systems can detect when someone is attempting to disguise their biometric identity, that is, to detect imposters. To test Odin's ability to detect attacks, a red team approach can be used to evaluate the performance of the Odin technology. Thor will develop the presentation attack detection technology, and Loki will use Thor technology. Reflection. What if unconditional love generously applied to the quantum field where unbridled imagination would always triumph over the artificial intelligence, a hive mind of every dark entity? Let's let our light shine and get some empirical data. The slime was excluded from the quantum financial system, but they are still trying to interfere globally with the legal and security paperwork of bank accounts. In recent days and weeks, Interpol and special forces arrested thousands of cheaters for obstruction, but this has caused delays in the process. Because the system is being used for the transfer of funds, the processes of releasing the currency readjustment cannot be stopped. We need to trust the plan, because it is out of our hands anyway. What the gatekeepers have arranged will be carried out, and we will just be along for the trip. Don't worry, because whatever the future holds for us will be really good. Evil will not follow us where we go. There is no way to eradicate all evil on this planet. It is too pervasive, but it will disappear if we eliminate its money supply. Those in charge know what needs to be done. We just need to have faith and patience. Those in charge know what needs to be done. I correct the phrase. Excuse me. Short news. The National Court investigates the murder of 2 Spanish journalists in Burkina Faso. The bodies of the 2 Spanish journalists murdered this week in Burkina Faso will be repatriated early Friday morning. The prosecutor's office of the Audiencia Nacional has opened proceedings to investigate their death. David Beriain and Roberto Fraile were in the Pama Nature Reserve in the southeast of the country, reporting on poaching when they were attacked last Monday by a group of armed men. Although a group close to Al-Qaeda has claimed responsibility for the attack, the Spanish Foreign Minister insists on knowing all the details of what happened, and that a thorough investigation be carried out. All European countries lowered taxes except Spain. The Spanish government ignores the tax cuts of neighboring countries and chooses to raise taxes in the midst of a health crisis. Greece and Italy were the last 2 neighboring countries to announce a fiscal stimulus for the coming years, in line with the tax plan of Germany and France. Spain is already the only major euro economy to opt for tax increases, according to Ignacio Faes. China claims that US destroyers seriously disrupted exercises of its warships. While the Chinese Navy formation was conducting routine exercises, the destroyer of the US Mustang repeatedly carried out reconnaissance missions near the ships. A US destroyer recently interfered with exercises by a People's Liberation Army ship formation led by the aircraft carrier Liaoning. Wu Qian, spokesman for China's Ministry of National Defense, told a news conference Thursday. China launches first module of its first space station. China's first permanent space station is taking shape. The main module has just been launched and is expected to be ready by the end of 2022. Until then, 11 more missions are still needed to build and provision the station. A Long March rocket was responsible for launching the module into orbit for the Wenchang base of China's southern island of Hainan. A fictitious asteroid heads forward Earth for a mock impact drill that tests our response systems. Exercises to deal with an hypothetical threat are intended to provide information to better prepare for and mitigate any challenge that may actually occur. The scenario of a disaster of such magnitude as a hypothetical impact of a large asteroid hitting the Earth can be difficult to predict, but that is precisely why it is necessary to have a plan in case such a challenge presents itself. The president of Chile, Sebastián Piñera, denounced for crimes against humankind. Different social organizations on Thursday asked the International Criminal Court to try the president of Chile, Sebastián Piñera, for crimes against humankind during the massive demonstration of 2019, which left some 30 dead and thousands injured. Crypto coins. Bitcoin declines on track for worst month since January. Bitcoin faces a turning point after a recent bout of selling. Although the cryptocurrency has rallied above its average price of the past 100 days, it still trades below its 50-day moving average. This dynamic indicates that an asset is approaching an inflection point. Ethereum hits a record high. Ethereum, the world's second largest cryptocurrency, is quiet these days, regularly hitting new records but without the frenzy of Bitcoins or Dogecoin. The digital currency hit an all-time high of $2,800 Thursday morning, rising 273% since the beginning of the year. European Investment Bank issues 100 million digital bills with Ethereum. The European Investment Bank of the European Union's lending arm used Ethereum technology to issue $100 million euros in 2-year digital notes for the first time. JP Morgan believes Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin good for anything other than selling it to someone else for more money? While the Bitcoin blockchain only allows sending and receiving cryptocurrencies, Ethereum is a more complex environment. In addition to making transactions with Ether, its own currency, it also allows you to write code, create new cryptocurrencies, and even make smart contracts that are automatically activated when conditions predetermined by the parties are met. Dogecoin rises higher. The Dogecoin climbed as much as 34 cents and was recently up 21% epicenter after Tesla CEO Elon Musk gave another tweet endorsing the cryptocurrency. Dogecoin rebounds, 6 new all-time high. The price of Dogecoin has been declining since reaching its all-time high, but rebounded sharply on April 23. It is expected to continue rising and eventually reach a new all-time high price. Digital currency Ether hits all-time high as Bitcoin's dominance fades. Ether, the world's second most popular digital currency, continued its advance into record territory on Thursday. Ether, which runs on top of the Ethereum blockchain, traded at an all-time high of $2,800 early Thursday. Cryptocurrency firm Paxos raises $300 million. Cryptocurrency firm Paxos said Thursday it had raised $300 million at a valuation of $2.4 billion. Goldman Sachs point the 19 crypto stocks that grouped together have outperformed the S&P 500 this 2021. Despite the swings in cryptocurrencies, and especially Bitcoin, in recent weeks, US stocks exposed to cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology have outperformed the S&P 500 by about 34 percentage points so far in 2021. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friend.